What happens when a police chief's daughter thinks she's above the law and assaults a 70-year-old Vietnam veteran in broad daylight? Alyssa Hughes walked into Judge Frank Caprio's courtroom, confident that her father's badge would shield her from any consequences. But when Judge Caprio made her father choose between his daughter and justice, what happened next became one of the most unforgettable moments in Providence courtroom history. The defendant stood there, smirking, and told Judge Caprio, "My dad runs this city. You can't touch me, old man." The courtroom went silent. But what nobody realized was that Police Chief Thomas Hughes was sitting quietly in the back row, watching his daughter destroy everything he spent decades building. And the decision he was about to make would shock everyone, showing that sometimes love means holding someone accountable, even when it hurts. Before we dive in, less than 5% of viewers are actually subscribed. If you believe in real justice, respecting veterans, and holding the powerful accountable, hit that subscribe button right now. You don't want to miss what happens next. It was a crisp November morning at Providence Municipal Court, and Judge Frank Caprio, 76, was preparing for what seemed like a routine assault case. But something about this one felt different. The victim was Robert Martinez, a 70-year-old Vietnam veteran. The defendant was 32-year-old Alyssa Hughes, daughter of Police Chief Thomas Hughes. 3 days earlier, Martinez was walking his dog in Roger Williams Park when Alyssa, driving her luxury SUV recklessly, nearly hit him. When he raised his hand to signal her to slow down, Alyssa got out of her car and, according to witnesses, shoved him to the ground. He hit his head, suffered a concussion, 3 broken ribs, and a fractured wrist. She then drove away, leaving the veteran bleeding on the pavement. The incident was captured on a nearby security camera, and when the footage went viral, the entire city demanded justice. The courtroom was packed. Reporters, concerned citizens, veteran advocacy groups, and court watchers who followed Judge Caprio had all shown up. There was a charged energy in the room. But here's what nobody knew yet. Police Chief Thomas Hughes was sitting in plain clothes in the back row, silently observing. He hadn't told his daughter he was there, and the reason he came would shock everyone. At 10:30 a.m., the bailiff called the case, State of Rhode Island versus Alyssa Hughes, charged with assault and battery on an elderly person. Alyssa walked in like she owned the place. Designer suit, expensive watch, hair perfectly styled, smirk in place. Her attorney, Marcus Richardson, followed closely, one of Providence's top defense lawyers. As Alyssa passed Robert Martinez, wearing his veteran cap and supporting his casted wrist, she didn't even glance at him. No acknowledgement, no remorse, nothing. Judge Caprio looked up from his paperwork. His eyes, which had shown compassion to thousands, suddenly turned cold. He had read the case file, seen the footage, and already decided this young woman was going to learn a lesson today. "Miss Hughes," Judge Caprio began, his voice calm but firm, "you are charged with assault and battery on an elderly person, specifically Mr. Robert Martinez, a 70-year-old Vietnam veteran. How do you plead?" Her immediate attorney stood. "Your Honor, my client pleads not guilty. We believe this is a case of mistaken identity." Judge Caprio raised a hand. "Counselor, I asked your client, not you. Miss Hughes, your plea." Alyssa stood tall, looked directly at Judge Caprio, and said with a smirk, "Not guilty, Your Honor. This is ridiculous." The word ridiculous hung in the air. Judge Caprio slowly removed his glasses, his signature move before delivering a reality check. "Ridiculous," he repeated. "Miss Hughes, I've seen the security footage. I've read the hospital reports. Would you like to reconsider your choice of words?" Alyssa glanced at her lawyer, but refused to back down. "With all due respect, Your Honor, this is being blown out of proportion. Some old man got in my way, and now I'm being dragged into court like a criminal." The courtroom gasped. Did she just dismiss a decorated Vietnam veteran as some old man? Judge Caprio set down his glasses, jaw tight. "Miss Hughes, do you understand who Mr. Martinez is?" "Some guy in my way," Alyssa replied, shrugging. The disrespect was palpable. Robert Martinez remained silent, dignified, but fellow veterans in the courtroom were visibly angry. Judge Caprio stood and walked toward the front, a rare move signaling the weight of what was about to happen. "Mr. Martinez," Judge Caprio said, addressing the elderly veteran, "please stand and tell Miss Hughes who you are." Martinez slowly rose, supporting himself with his good arm. "Your Honor, my name is Robert Martinez. I served in the United States Marine Corps from 1968 to 1971, 2 tours in Vietnam. I was awarded the Purple Heart and the Bronze Star for valor. I retired as a Providence firefighter. And 3 days ago, this woman assaulted me for no reason other than I asked her to slow down in a public park." The courtroom fell silent. Judge Caprio nodded respectfully, and Martinez sat. Then he turned to Alyssa. "Do you understand what you just heard? You assaulted a decorated combat veteran and called him some old man. Do you see the gravity of your actions?" Her smirk faltered. I didn't know he was a veteran. How was I supposed to know?" Judge Caprio's response was swift. "It shouldn't matter. Assault is assault. The fact that you think it only matters if you knew his service record tells me everything about your character." Then he signaled the court clerk. The security footage played. Everyone watched in stunned silence as Alyssa's SUV sped through the park, nearly hitting Martinez, her getting out of her car and shoving him violently, then driving off. The evidence was undeniable. "Still think this is ridiculous, Miss Hughes?" Her face paled. I was having a bad day. I wasn't thinking clearly." Judge Caprio stepped closer. "A bad day doesn't give you the right to assault an elderly veteran. You believed your family name made you untouchable. Today, you will learn otherwise." Then Judge Caprio's voice changed. "Mr. Hughes, would you please come forward?" Gasps echoed. Police Chief Thomas Hughes rose slowly. Alyssa's eyes widened. "Dad, what are you doing here?" Chief Hughes walked forward. No uniform, no badge, just a father witnessing the consequences of his daughter's arrogance. "Your Honor, my daughter is wrong. I've served this city for 35 years. I've risked my life to uphold the law. I've never once believed my badge allows me or my family to break the law. I've failed her as a parent, and I'm here to let justice take its course." Alyssa tried to speak. "Dad, Quiet," he said firmly. "I love you, but love doesn't protect you from consequences. It ensures you face them, learn, and grow." Judge Caprio nodded. "Miss Hughes, your father chose principles over protection. That is integrity. That is leadership." Alyssa's tears fell. "I'm sorry. I was wrong." Judge Caprio's voice carried decades of wisdom. "Actions have consequences. Your sentence reflects accountability and redemption. 90 days in Providence County Correctional Facility, 200 hours of community service with elderly veterans, 1 year of anger management, a formal letter of apology to Mr. Martinez, and a face-to-face meeting with him, a public video apology on the police department's social media, and upon release, a talk to police recruits about privilege and accountability." Chief Hughes added, "She will also be moving out of my house today. She needs to learn independence and responsibility." Robert Martinez spoke gently. "I don't want revenge. I want her to understand that every person deserves respect, no matter their age or position." 6 months later, Alyssa walked out a changed woman. She had completed her community service, reconciled with Martinez, and began advocating for veterans. The city saw accountability, humility, and redemption in action. Justice was served. Lessons were learned. Lives were changed.